Hello and good afternoon. My name is Tim McElvain, and I'm the director of the Learning Technology Center. We are excited to have you join us for a webinar as part of our LTC EdTech webinar series. I'm pleased to introduce Lisa Ward, who will share on assessment platforms for the classroom. Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, let me share my screen here. Let's continue this. And we want this. Okay, there we go. All right. We're going to talk about a couple of assessment platforms, different ways in which to practice the tech enhanced tools, things of that nature. This is the assessment page for assessment platforms that's on Illinois Classroom's Tech for Teachers. And we will dive into this. Now I have two platforms that work on some of the tech enhanced answer sessions. One of them is EDD Site here, and then EduLastic. EDD Site's the first one I've ever come across about 5 years ago. It was one of the biggest questions people were starting to have when we started adding in those tech enhanced questions. How are my students going to practice this? I like it because unlike some locations where they give you a set of questions, you can create your own questions for both of these sites. They both allow the tech enhanced, they both allow you to choose which ones, and they both have a bank or a library of already created questions based on topics, search by standards. They both have similar aspects, but they both are set up a little bit different. So we're going to go in and take a look at both of them. So go to EDD Site first. Like I said, it was the first one that came out with this type of platform. EduLastic was out for a while as well, but they just started adding all of that in. Let me go ahead and log out so I can take you all the way through here. That's just a minute. Let me move my picture. So when you go to EDD Site, you can sign up. I have my own email account there. You can log in with Google or with Clever. You can then connect your classrooms. If you already have Clever Classroom set up or Google Classroom set up, you can connect that as well, which makes adding students so much faster. So we're going to go ahead and log back in. Let's see. So I want to log in with my teacher account. I have both a teacher and a fictitious student, something I like to tell people when you first set up any platform that you're going to have your students going with, your students utilizing whatsoever. Always create yourself a fictitious student so that once you set up in a classroom and you set up an assignment, you can then go in as the student because their platform is going to be completely different than yours. So you want to make sure you have an understanding of what your students are going to be experiencing before you send it out to 20 or 30 kids. Okay, so I do have a test class here, but you can also create a class by just creating a blank class, importing like from Google Classroom or importing from Clever. Either choice is there. A couple of things for the menu up here. Your home is basically your dashboard. On here you have a get started. These are all videos and resources to get you started with it. They have a great wealth of videos for that. So creating a class, finding an assignment, sending those to students, and then reviewing data. Both of these platforms are free, of course. I always share things that are free. They do have a school or district platforms that do have costs, but for any teacher to set up any classrooms, multiple amount of students, it's completely free. Now assignments, this is where we get into the nitty-gritty. Under assignments, you can look at 4 different places, either the library, collections, my assignments, which means ones I've already created, or ones I've borrowed from the library, or I can create brand new assignments. So let's take a look at the library and the collections first that they house on EDD Site. So when I go into the library, okay, I can sort grade, subject, number of questions, so forth and so on. These are set library setups that they have. So here's a grade 3 Fable, Lion and the Mouse. There's only one question in this one. This tells you the teacher it was created by, grade level, ELA, when it was last shared, in other words, when it was first put up, and then if you click here, it shows you the standard that the assignment matches to. Now, remember, teachers are putting these in, so they are matched up to whatever teacher has assigned them to. Whenever you borrow anything from a library for this, for any other assessment platform, any other lesson platforms, and teachers created it, you need to do your due diligence as a teacher to make sure, is it really aligned to all of those standards, okay? I can click here and like it, and then it's going to stay within my assignments. I can assign it. I can preview it to see what it might look like. So there's only one question here, so I'm going to go ahead and pop in and take a look at it. Okay, so now I can start the assignment just to see what it's like. So here we have the question. So here's your story here. And then over here to enter response. Okay, and also which paragraph. So you can select a paragraph answer. And it has a short, I see they've done lots of questions for one paragraph. So multiple choice. Again, this one you would say which sentence. So when you click on it, it's just highlighting a sentence, just like you would do with any other text enhanced questions. And down, and then the green arrow to go on. Now this is just a preview. You haven't assigned it, you haven't borrowed it, anything of that nature, but you do have what's called review, save, or submit, so you can grab it there, okay? Or you can like it, you can customize it, or you can just assign it straight out to your class if you like. I'm gonna go back to the home page. And we'll look at the collection. So libraries, it's broken down in individual ones. If we go into collections, they have Illinois aligned collections because when I set up my classroom, I of course told it I was in Illinois. So you can take a look here to see this one here for 4th grade math. There's 50 assignments in here, 85 people are following it. So you can see what you like. Achieve the Core ELA and math assignments are set up by Achieve the Core. You can go in and view the collection. Okay, these are all created by the EDD Site team, so not an individual teacher, but by the EDD Site team to match up with these standards. So counting for the Achieve the Core, here's Curse the Poison. So if you're using lessons from Achieve the Core, these are where you can throw some other assignments and assessments with it. Because of Winn-Dixie, there's a massive amount of book-related ELA assessments in here. Okay. And if you like them, you can assign, like I said, you can like it, or you can copy it, and then you can edit it. So if you like 6 out of 7 questions, you can get rid of one of the 7th question or create your own. Now we're going to go ahead and create an assignment, which I like the best, to show different ways to create your own questions. Okay, so we're just going to call it a test assignment. And I want to add some questions. Now, I don't have any questions there at the moment, so I'm going to create a question. This shows you the question types that are available to you. You can filter it by different things. Test alignment, so they do have park, so you can look there, and these are the park type. Tech enhanced. If you're not sure what it is, when you click on it, you get a nice description of it here. You can bounce around to whichever one you'd like to see. Exactly what does it look like? Is that what I would like? Now, more so than just test alignment, I like the ones that have the student action. So there's many more here. You can also create many games with this as well. Fill in the blank there, multiple choice, text with an excerpt. I like, if you do subject under ELA, there's a crossword puzzle game you can create. Drag and drop text. I like especially Venn diagrams as well, where you can create the boxes there and then drag and drop where things fit within the Venn diagram. So this just gives you an idea, and then you can click create question and dive into that. They do have other categories with science. You can see the things with science. Some of those overlap with the math. Social studies, as you're getting a lot of free response, extended essays, things like that. Rearranging the text works really, really well with this, as well as social studies, where you're mapping out different things for timelines and things of that nature. And I love that there's art as well. So, but art, you're labeling images, which you can put in with science as well. So lots of resources there. I like how it gives you the description and exactly what it is. If you're not sure, you can click sample. You can also take time and go through all of these types and add them to your favorites, the ones you're going to be using all the time. And then you don't need to filter this way. You just click on My Favorites, and there they would be. Okay. So that's how you create your own questions with it. You do get reports with this. So if you have your students in doing assignments and that, you can click on the reports and see what your students are doing. I don't have any students in mine currently, so I don't think we're going to get much there. But you can see progress, summary reports, and they do base it upon mastery. So it is a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup there. Okay. So let's go take a peek. This is EDD Site. And then we're going to go into Edulastic. It's a little bit different of a format. But just like with everything else we do, our students learn differently. Our students like different ways to do things, so do our teachers. So whichever platform works best, the key here is you have control over the questions that are being asked. Both platforms will work on an interactive whiteboard, so Smartboard, Promethean, Mimios, any of those. So you can do one question for something, put it up in the morning for an activity, and then they can do the interactive tool, get very comfortable with utilizing the tech-enhanced answers. Okay, so on your dashboard, you have classes set up again, however you'd like to set up classes. You manage the class to get it started. So there's that. Create a class, or again, like sync with Google Classroom. This one does not sync with Clever, but it does sync with Google Classroom. So in creating a class, you do the same thing. You can change an image for it, so they all have images. Give it a name, grade level. It does ask you to choose a subject. Now, the reason it's asking you to choose a subject, I know if you choose 3rd grade, you're doing all the subjects, but they do have you choose a subject. It helps it when you're picking out your standards to add assignments for this class. If you have the ELA, the science, the math a little more separated, it might make it a little bit easier. Students can be in as many classes as you'd like to put them in, so there's never a worry there. Okay, I'm going to cancel this, and we're just going to go into a test class. Something that it has when you add a student here that I thought was kind of unique. You type in, for some reason I'm getting funny little things there. So I'm going to do student, and we'll do student 12. And first name is student. You can create a password for your students, or you can create a basic password, 1, 2, 3, 4, ABCD, whatever. But the additional details, now Edulastic has this, EDD Site does not, but you can put in the SysID number. If the district ever takes over, it'll connect. You don't need to do that, but this is for your own data as well. A student number, IEP if they're an IEP, ELL, special ed, any of this detail you can put in for your students. And the contact number, you don't have to put everything, you can put some things. Just know that it's there. Okay. Now, searching for items here you have in your dashboard is here. You can search for assessments, just like we did with the other one. The class I have on there was grade 3, but I can select all grades if I'd like. ELA. Okay. Let's see. Let's find and create a new assessment. Now, you can create it from scratch, just like we talked about with the other one. They do have the, let's see what its choices of question styles are. Okay, so right now I have it as grade 3, ELA Common Core Standards. I can select a specific standard, or I can take a peek here. This tells you what multiple choice questions, these are passage questions, and there's 11 questions in this one. Multiple choice, essay type, so it's giving you an idea of what's already been created. Matching tables, so these are the answer choices, passage, essay. Okay, editing, where they're filling in the blanks within the sentences, sentence response, editing task. So this gives you an idea there. It lets you know how many like it, how many people have used it. I think that's kind of disparating there. 875 are using it. I guess we just don't go back and say, I like this. This tells you the author of it. Keep that in mind as you start finding ones. If you find that you are always liking what this person is, you can follow them on that and keep in line on what they're doing and sort by their name. We're going to author a new question. So I click up there. Classic question types, you have the multiple choice, multiple selection, drag down essay, text entry, and true false. common ones right there. Tech Enhanced Math. You can see we have a lot more Tech Enhanced Math questions. And then ELA. So it's the editing task, matching tables, classifications, things of that nature. So lots of choices there. And again, it'll all work on an interactive board as well. Now, if we look in the library, okay, so I have a bunch of filters there, but I'm going to take them off for right now and reset everything. And say I would like to do grade 4. Yeah. Math. I must be not clicking something there. Apply the filter. There we go. It was hiding behind the box. Okay, so Engage New York. This is people who have aligned assessments up with Engage New York. They're all in a public library, and this one is shared by Engage New York. New Jersey's model curriculum is on here as well. Tennessee has it on here as well, and Ohio has shared some on here as well. Okay, so a little more picture-oriented than the words that were in the other ones. Let's see, we can preview it, just like you can preview on the ED Site. Gives you an idea of what it looks like as soon as it loads. So there's 11 questions in this one. You can practice them if you like. I'm not reading it, so I'm sorry if I got it wrong. Okay, just to give an idea. Now, sometimes these that are built, you go through it and notice they're all multiple choice. Please take time to look at this. With so many options and so many tech enhanced, I already don't care much for this one because they're all multiple choice at this point. So I myself would go, okay. And I want one that's much more tech enhanced. I want the students to get comfortable with it, because the more comfortable they are using these tools, the less of a worry it is. Okay. Now everything that has the E up in the corner, you'll see it right there, means it is an Edge Elastic verified. So they really like these. So the content has been checked, the answers are right, things of that nature. It is graded correctly. So let's take a peek at what this one has. So a little more choices here. You also have a scratch pad down at the bottom, which is nice to add that in. So they can do either yes or no, whatever the choice is. And even skip it if it's not there. So we're doing much more tech enhanced. This would be dragging and dropping to see what goes in which area. I'm not really paying attention, so I'm just doing the drag and drop. And then put the model of it there and what it equals before you go on to the next. So this one has much more choices in building. When this pops up for math, this is not a calculator. This is in case they don't have the keyboards to be typing it, or they're having difficulty with the keyboard. Sometimes with the symbols, we'll have some difficulties. So this is just the input board. Okay. You can also pop up the scratch pad again. So you see some of those working there. And like I said, you can grab any of these and assign them, download them and edit them as you like. They also have the likes and how many people are using them as well. Authored by me, any that I've created are there, ones I've previously used. And of course, if you do the heart shape on any of them, then your favorites will show up here as well. So you can build quite a good library to have for these resources. Okay. Your reports, you get a standards mastery report on how your students are doing with that. This nice pretty one down here is the upgrade version. So it's a much deeper dive into individual students' progress in that, but this standards mastery will give you how your students are doing by specific standards, either ELA, math, next generation as well is in their science standards. Okay, back to managing the classes where you can add students, assess them, archive it if the class is finished, any of those resources. It always has a help button down here, which is a great help center on both of them, lots of videos in which to show help. So, two of my favorite things there. Those are the two resources I have for the Tech Enhanced. A couple other resources I talked about was feedback as well. I like Edpuzzle as far as interactive with videos and so forth. Teachers can pull in any video from just about everywhere, from YouTube and so forth. And if you have it set so that YouTube doesn't play within your district or within your school, if you play the video through the Edpuzzle platform, it usually goes right past that because it's playing within Edpuzzle, not within YouTube. They also don't get all the other YouTube things with YouTube, everything that's on the side there. So feedback and reflection is something else I had talked about that we might go into today. I want to let you know recap, which is one of my absolute favorite things, is going away as of June. They were going to take it away here in January, and they just changed it to be June. But Flipgrid, on the other side of it, a couple months ago decided to give the entire platform available to educators. So there's no limit with your grids now, but that's a great way for the students to be able to post something, and then you can post back audio and video feedback to them as well. Okay, so we have a couple minutes. Do we have anybody with any questions? I wasn't watching the chat box necessarily, but do we have any questions on anything? Anybody can unmute and ask a question if you like. If there's something else you're looking for tech-wise, assessment, I do have response systems here as well. Response is basically when it's on the move. Platform is more where you set it up and students go in at their own time and their own pace. My favorites here are the Socrative, of course, for both students and teachers. Interactive. Let's see. I don't think I have the chat box. Do we have any questions in there? Or let's see.
We do not have any questions.
Okay.
So far. I'm curious to know, if you had to choose one assessment platform, what would you choose?
Between the two, I think I would probably go with EDD Site first, only because they have the longer, stronger experience with it. Edulastic has come a long way, but I found a couple of hiccups when I was playing with it that I had to go around a couple of times, so I think they're still working it out. Nothing major, just enough that I needed to reload something when practicing with it. They both connect with Google Classroom really, really well, which is usually where I find the hiccup.
Yeah.
But both do that very well. And it's really, one is a lot more graphical interface for the teacher versus not graphical interface. So that's my big difference that I see between the two.
Okay.
So whatever teacher's comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay, great. If you have questions, you could unmute yourself. You all are now able to do that. Or you can put the questions in the chat box. We'll give us just a little bit of wait time here to see if anybody is thinking about a question.
Give you a non-assessment question too, any tech question.
Yeah, you have a wonderful resource there. I encourage all of you, if you have not had a chance to take a look at your website, Tech for Teachers. It has a phenomenal list of resources and tools available. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think I'm up to a little over 600 resources that are all free. Everything on the website's free to use. Free platforms for teachers of just about anything.
Yep. Okay, last call for questions. Okay, and Lisa, where can they reach you if they do have questions later?
Well, if you go to the IL Classroom Tech Weebly here, anywhere on here, and you scroll down to the bottom, there's a little mail right there. Email to me. Comes straight to me.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for the awesome presentation, Lisa, and thank you everyone for joining us today. This webinar will be archived on the LTC website and available for later reference if you would like, or you could share it with your friends or colleagues. And then later, today or tomorrow, we'll send out an evaluations form for you to get PD hours. And if you ever have questions about us, you could contact us through the LTC website, ltcillinois.org. Okay, thank you, everyone, and please stay warm.
Yes, yes, definitely. Be safe.
Bye now.